Kia ora, it's Fred again from Drive Life. This is our review of the 2025 Mini Countryman JCW ALL4. We went to the launch of this car in May and we found it pretty impressive for the day. But what's it like to live with? We've spent a week in the car, we've driven 1,500 kilometres, and that includes an 800 kilometre weekend away. So we can really tell you what this car is like to live with. Liam tested the 3-door electric version of the JCW a few weeks ago and he found that it handled like a go-kart, but it rode like one too. I drove that car and it was very, very hard. What's the ride quality like in this car? We'll tell you very soon. This is the top spec model. It's about just under 80 grand. It's got a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine and a 7-speed dual clutch automatic. It puts out a pretty healthy 221 kilowatts of power and 400 newton meters of torque, so it should be more than enough for daily driving. We're going to look at the design, we're going to look at the interior, we'll go for a drive and tell you what it's like, and at the end I'll summary it up with 5 likes and 5 dislikes. Side on, the car is classic John Cooper Works Mini. It's cheeky, it's still rugged, it is an SUV now after all. It's got these excellent flag spoke alloys, 20 inches with Michelin Primacy tyres on it. Who would think you could make a wheel look like a checkered flag? But they've done it and it looks superb. This car is 6 centimetres longer and 13 centimetres higher than the outgoing version, so it's no longer mini, this Mini. It is quite big, I've got to say. It's quite, not imposingly big, but it's noticeably bigger than the previous model. Mini says that's what their buyers wanted. People have got a family, they want something with more space. This panel here serves absolutely no purpose other than it looks really cool, and it does. I mean, it has no function, just an added JCW touch that sort of makes the car, if you like. New for 2025 are the flush door handles. Nothing fantastic, but they definitely look better than the previous version. These vents down the bottom aren't just for looks, they're actually functional and they lead straight into a radiator on each side. So at least they do something, which is very cool. These red slashes on the John Cooper Works, not my favourite feature. It just seems a bit try-hard, and while I'm all about enhancing the look, I don't think they do anything for the look of the car at the front. But the rest of it looks cool. The checkered flag theme goes from the wheels to the grille to the front embellishment, and it leads right up onto the bonnet with the checkered stripes on the bonnet. Some might think that's a bit too try-hard, but actually I think Mini have really pulled that off. It turned out fantastic. These little indentations here in the bonnet, again, serve no real purpose other than to lead your eyes up onto the stripes. But they're different from the standard car, and actually they look pretty cool. So overall, the front, very JCW, very racy, very nice. Around the back, things are clean and functional. We've got blacked out badging, we've got the new flush Mini badges. We've got what could possibly be the world's smallest rear window wiper, but hey, at least it's got one. I think the highlight for me around the back, other than this cool roof spoiler, are these quad exhaust tips. They look amazing, and I think I'd buy a car just for that. I love quad exhaust tips. They scream performance, they scream JCW, and they actually sound pretty good too. Just look at these vertical LED Union Jack tail lights. Streamlined for JCW apparently, and Mini says they're a historical reference to their British racing heritage. The car's built in Germany, but I love them. They're different, they're cool, and they look superb at night time. The interior of this car it's very nice. It's recycled materials meets JCW, and it's tactile, it feels good. This dashboard is so cool. I mean, who wants a plastic dash after having this? And it's lit up at night too. There's a couple of lights that project out from behind the center screen onto the dash. Some people might find that a bit geeky, but it's sort of cool, and you can change the colors, of course. That's very nice. The seats are great too. Excellent side support. Red contrasting stitching. Both seats are electric. The driver's has a massaging function that we'll talk about in a minute. And they're both 3-stage heated as well. And there's a heated steering wheel. So the interior, overall, beautiful finish, and setting an example for how to do it for 2025. Up front we've got a few nice features in the car. There's a rubberized QI wireless charging pad here. My phone never moves, so quite happy about that. We've got an old school 1960s Mini type of key to turn the car off and on. and it doesn't come out obviously, but it's quite a nice throwback to the 60s. The gear selector's here. It looks funky, but you get used to it very quickly. We've got our parking button. You can hit that and set the automatic parking, or just look at your 360 cams, which are pretty crisp and clear, and we can also pick our different cameras, of course, like we see in other cars. Moving down, we've got a bit of storage, cup holders, and a nice little cubby here for your valuables, another rubberized pad for more storage, and then at the back of the rubberized pad we've got a couple of USB-C ports and a 12-volt socket for your dash cam or your radar detector. The center panel here looks like it should pop up and have storage underneath, but it doesn't. It just slides backwards and forwards. So great when you're driving, you can rest your arm on it, but a little bit more storage would have been handy. Not the end of the world. This 240mm OLED center display is core of the car, if you like. We're in core driving mode at the moment, or experience mode as Mini calls it. It's crystal clear solution. It is so crisp. It's a pleasure to look at, and it's quite speedy too. I mean, there's so many different options here you can flick through. It's very fast to operate, and finally it takes up the whole screen. It also lets you look at Mini's drive experiences, as we saw. So core is your default mode, it's like normal drive mode, and then we've got others like eco mode. These all change the ambient lighting and the colors of the screen and what have you. They don't do a lot for driving in the car. The only one that changes and amps things up is go-kart mode. So that sets your suspension to firm. It ramps up steering, the exhaust, throttle response, and that's your sports driving mode right there. The car comes standard with wireless CarPlay, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but they don't take up this entire screen. They only take up a band, which is not ideal, but hey, at least it's there. There's a Harman Kardon sound system, and that's average audio quality. It's not the greatest. It just sounds a little bit too flat for my liking, but the entire screen does all the sat-nav obviously, and the climate and the audio. If there's one part of this whole system I don't like, it's the tiny seat heating buttons here. It's so small. So I can adjust my seat heater here and the steering wheel heater. But when you're driving, you've got a tiny little button there to press. You can use the voice commands to turn that off and on, but it'll only turn it off and on. You can't turn it up and down. You've got to turn it up and down by using that, and when you're driving it doesn't feel safe to try and hunt that little tiny button out. I love me a chunky steering wheel, but I've got to say the one in this car, it feels almost too fat. It's just a little bit too big. I do like the Mini put big chunky thumb grips here, try and force drivers to put their thumbs on the wheel instead of under, so that's nice, but it just feels a little bit too chunky for my liking, but still better than too thin. It's got this interesting little band of fabric here. It serves no purpose other than to look good, and it does look good. If there's one other thing to complain about a little bit in this car, is that we've got a heads-up display here of sorts. I'll start the car, and there it is. It's a piece of plastic that flips up, and that's your speedo, that's your sat nav, that's your audio. I guess I don't like it because it feels a bit cheap. It's an 80 grand car. People probably expect a proper heads-up display at $80,000. BMW make one of the best heads-up displays out there, if not the best. And why didn't they put it in this car? Why stick it with a little bit of piece of plastic? It just looks a bit on the cheap side. Not my favorite thing, but hey, it's better than having no dashboard at all. I'm not hating on the JCW or Mini. It's a great car, but there's one thing I've been complaining about for years. It's these sun visors. They work fine in the front, but if you want to flip it around to cover the sun coming in the side, they don't go all the way, and far from it. It's even worse on the 3-door model, because it has really big doors and it barely covers half. And one thing to do, like other brands do, is have a sliding sun visor. Just have it so you can pull it across. It probably costs an extra $1 to make, but it'll make a big difference to stop that sun beating in on your head on those long commutes home. The back of the car is okay for space. It's a little bit tight for legroom. Not bad, but definitely could be better. The one-piece seats look very sexy and sporty, but They do intrude on the passenger space a bit and makes it feel that little bit more enclosed. But hey, we've got a full panoramic electric tilt slide sunroof there, and that really helps let that natural light in, so that's the bonus. A couple of cup holders in the armrest, a couple of USB ports, some vents which are nice. I guess if there's one more negative, back here it's this plastic shelf, so anybody sitting in the middle is going to have their foot room restricted by that. They'd have to put it either side, and that's okay, but not ideal. But hey, it's still a nice place to live. The rear windows are relatively big, so I think on a long trip your kids wouldn't get too car sick. There's 505 litres of space in the back of the car with the seats up, and when you put them down there's 1530, so that's pretty reasonable. And under the floor is a huge amount of more space, a good couple of 100 litres under there. There's no spare wheel. You get a first aid kit, a 12 volt tyre pump and a cargo mesh. So no spare in this car, but that's pretty common. Another little cubby here on the side, not much else, but it's nicely finished, and there is a 12 volt socket on the side if you're going camping in your JCW. So the interior of this car, very nice. Dark, sporty, keeping with JCW definitely. But what's it like to drive? It's pretty peppy. You have to be careful with that right foot. It'll get to 100 k's in 5.4 seconds, and if you take it to the track and top out at 250 kilometers an hour, there is a boost mode on the paddles. Boost mode doesn't give you any power, like any extra power like it does in other brands. It just tweaks all the settings up to the maximum, like throttle response and suspension. It lasts for 10 seconds and then it turns itself off, so sort of a party trick. Just not sure how usable that is. Performance overall, it's excellent. Mid-range especially, on the motorway, on the open road. My trip away to Hawera the other weekend, 800 kilometre trip, passing cars on the open road, the ones that are doing 80 in the 100 zone, just effortless. It doesn't matter what drive mode you're in or experience, the power is always there. And it's accompanied with a really nice exhaust note. I mean, I've got to say, it sounds good, but being 2025, that means fake exhaust noises, unfortunately. But hey, Minnie done a really good job. No, not you, hey Minnie.
Try one more time.
Cancel.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you again.
Cancel. So, exhaust noises are excellent. And as I say, it's fake, but it sounds good. It doesn't sound fake, is what I'm saying. So don't panic that your friends are going to cringe when you floor it. It sounds bloody brilliant. On the plus side of go-kart mode, we had nice little blats between the gear changes on full throttle upshifts, and on the downshifts there's some nice rev matching as well. It all sounds cool, and it's just really keeping in character with the car. So what's the handling like for this John Cooper Works? It's a staple of that Mini is the ultimate in handling go-kart. It's pretty damn good. The adaptive suspension really helps out here, sticks into go-kart mode. The ride is still reasonable, but it firms everything up and does a better job than in core or any of the other modes. Steering feedback is excellent. I guess that's BMW's DNA shining through there. It's got good feel as well. Just don't expect any slow speed steering serenity. It's a little bit slow to react on moderate inputs, but overall the handling is great, and you'd expect that with all-wheel drive and Michelin tyres, and it's up to the mark. So while the handling's very good, I did notice on some bumpy corners that the rear end moves around a bit more than I'd expect. Not really a drama because the all-wheel drive keeps the car in check there, but some corners unsettle the back just a little bit. While that mid-range acceleration is excellent and gear changes are quick, getting off the mark is a bit of a head station there, and it's just a pause between putting your foot on the gas and something actually happening. Let's put into go-kart mode, and yeah, I'll just show you what I mean. So yeah, once you get moving, it's great, but it's that initial off the mark acceleration, put your foot to the floor, nothing really happens. Half a second later, it all starts to happen. Bit surprising, but hey, it still sounds brilliant. If we switch the car into go-kart mode, experience, not drive mode, it's an experience. The throttle control gets sharper, obviously. The downshifts are quicker, it hangs on the gears longer. We get a nicer exhaust note, suspension firms up, we get the cool graphics on the screen as well. It does sort of transform the car quite a bit. Having adaptive suspension really makes that difference, so you can actually feel it, more sporty handling, and it's really nice. You know, it howls nicely, fake a little bit, but still awesome. A great handling as well. Some cars we have, when you change the drive modes, you don't actually feel a hell of a lot of difference. It's marginal, some cars, but this, definite difference. If there's one downside of the JCW, it's that when you switch the car into any drive mode, it doesn't matter, you don't get the gear indicator on the heads-up display. It only comes up on the screen, so we don't know what gear we're in here. I really like knowing what gear I'm in. If it's hitting the red line, is it in second or is it in third? It would be so easy to have it on the heads-up display, and on some cars like BMWs, you only see the gear indicator when you put into sport mode. That's fine with me, but with this car, it doesn't matter if you're in go-kart mode as I am now. On the display, I don't get any gear indicator at all. It's one of those small things, but it's nice to have, and in something sporty like this, you can sort of expect that. Maybe in the next release we'll get that change. With that excellent handling and excellent performance, you won't get brakes, and my god, this car has got them. The car will stop from 100 kilometers an hour in less than 35 meters, and repeated heavy braking, it's no fade at all. They just nail it every time. This car, being JCW, has a JCW sport brakes. You can option up to the JCW performance brake kit. Unless you're tracking the car, it's probably not a car people are going to track. I just don't see the need. The ones that the car comes with as standard are brilliant. Definitely a highlight. As I said, we took this car away on an 800 kilometer drive for a weekend, and it's the same drive to Hawera and back that I took the electric JCW 3-door a month before, and this one was so much better, if just for that ride quality. It's so much more usable. The other good thing about taking it away for a weekend was using the car on open road at night, pitch black. The headlights are excellent, and not adaptive, but they do have auto high beams, and the breadth and depth of the beam was excellent. I was really impressed, and the auto high beams work well. I didn't have any times where I wanted to dip the headlights before the car did it. It was perfectly timed, and that doesn't happen as often as you'd think. We get some cars that really struggle with that, but the headlights, brilliant. When you aren't racing about on back roads in the JCW, it doubles as a commuter really well. I mean, I've got no complaints about using this car as a daily driver, and it is one of those cars where you think, if I just had to have one car, could this do it? It really could. Visibility on the motorway driving around is excellent. Compared to some other cars we've had lately with massively huge C-pillars that you just can't see out of, the JCW, fantastic visibility. It is top-notch and excellent. I guess on that daily drive and just in general usage, one thing that's a little surprising, you probably can't hear it, the wind noise, tyre noise and road noise, they're higher than other cars now. Other brands have really stepped up on that front and are isolating the passengers quite nicely from all those things that you don't want to hear. The Mini doesn't do as well as this front. It's not bad by a long stretch, but it's definitely higher than other cars. But overall, as a commuter, comfortable, quiet, just cruising on the motorway, and an enjoyable daily drive. We do complain a lot here at Drive Life about driver assist systems, driver attention monitoring, lane keep assist. Some of them on some cars, and I'm going to pick on the Chinese brands here, it's just so overpowering, so damn annoying. They try and take over the car far too much, and at the wrong times when there's not really a hazard, they'll try and pull the steering wheel out of your hands. So I thought I'd take a gamble on the JCW and turn on all the driver assist systems and the infotainment system, and I cranked them all up to the highest settings, like the worst possible settings, and guess what? I'm not annoyed at all. I haven't been falsely alerted to anything that I shouldn't have been doing. It's been excellent. I'm really blown away by just how good the driver assist systems are. They're not annoying, they work. I've cranked them up to high and I have absolutely no complaints at all. So it really shows you the development that BMW/Mini have put into their driver assist systems. They work, and they work brilliantly. I talked in the opening bit about the ride quality in the 3-door electric JCW. We haven't driven the petrol 3-door JCW yet, but the electric one, it handles like a go-kart and it rides like a go-kart. It is firm, would be pulling it really politely. It is very hard riding. And I see Liam, when he reviewed the car, and I'll put a link in the description for that, said he took his dad out and his dad felt a bit sick because it was just that hard. I had high hopes that the 5-door one would be a big improvement, and it really is. It can still get a bit choppy, but overall it's such a big improvement on the electric 3-door version. It's not funny. And for what it is, this is a sporty 5-door, okay, SUV. It's a sporty 5-door car with 221 kilowatts of power and quite awesome handling. So the ride quality as it is still pretty damn acceptable. Here I am, aimlessly driving around an empty car park. It's a new feature for this year. Well, it's one I haven't seen in any other Mini. It's common in BMWs and has been for quite a while. It's reversing assistant. So let's say you suck at parking, or just reversing in general. It's got automatic parking anyway. But let's say you're not very good at backing up and you get into a really tight spot in a car park and you're not confident to back out in a zigzag sort of fashion. So I'm going to do a bit of zigzagging here so you can see what I'm talking about. So again, there's no cars here. I'm just going to turn aimlessly and pretend we're dodging around some, I don't know, big 240-gallon drums or other traffic or bollards, whatever it is that you don't like reversing around. And then you stop and you go, holy crap, I am not confident reversing. What am I going to do? So all we do is hit the parking camera button, select reversing assistant, select reverse gear, hands off steering wheel, and push the gas pedal, and now the car will start going back exactly the same way that I turned. So it should get you safely out of anything. It's just going back the same amount. It only does 50 meters in reverse, and then it will just turn itself off. We'll see what happens. You can pay for Parking Assistant Plus, and that will take you back 200 meters. But hey, 50 meters is still a reasonable distance. I don't know where it's going now, but it should be going back the way I came. I can see the line on the screen. It's going to finish right about there. So that was 50 meters. I don't need it, but I can see some people who would say, I want that feature. That's really handy. So great that Mini put it in the car for this year. So as I said, I've spent 1,500 kilometers behind the wheel of this car. Mini suggested it should do around 8.3 litres per 100 k's for fuel economy. I did have a weekend away, and that was over half of my time in this car. And I've managed 8 litres per 100 k's, so better than what Mini suggests, but that long weekend away on the open road really helped. And that's pretty damn good for a 221 kilowatt petrol turbo sporty SUV. I mean, that's bordering on outstanding. So well done Mini on that front. Bear in mind, when you go to the pumps, you're going to need to put 95 octane gas in at least, 98 preferably. So let's wrap it up. What's my 5 favourite things about this car, and one of my 5 least favourite things? Number 1 is the handling and just the overall driving this car. It's still got that Mini cheekiness about it. It's eager, it wants you to push it that little bit harder, and it's impressive that Mini have managed to retain that. Made the car, sorry Mini.
Date and time.
No, it's not what I want. That they have made that stay with the car. It's bigger, it's heavier, but it's still fun, and I really like that. Second thing would be this interior. The fabrics, the dash, it's a super clear crystal screen. Who else is doing a round screen? No one. It's really nice, it's different, and it's nice to live with too. My third like would definitely be the brakes. They're a highlight of this car. As I said, it's 1660 kilos. Okay, that's not huge in the world of EVs. It's not an EV, but there's still a lot of weight to hold down from speed, and those brakes, they are excellent. It feels great, you can modulate them. Love the brakes on this car. My fourth favourite thing is the look. You wonder where Mini's going to go with the look, because each time it just gets that bit more modern, and you think at some point it's going to lose that Mini look about it, but they've kept it, and that's an impressive feat. Not to mention, as I already said before, those quad exhaust tips. I love quad exhaust tips. They just look so cool. Definitely a highlight of the car for me. My last favourite thing, and it's not just one thing, it's just the overall package. It's got plenty of space, rear leg room, a little bit limited, but storage space is great. The car feels good, it drives well, it's well equipped. It's a bit on the higher side for price, but hey, it's a BMW/Mini. But the overall package is just so well done. I said earlier, is it the perfect car? Can it do everything? It can do a lot of things. And I said, if you have to have one car, this could well be it. It ticks a lot of boxes for space, growing family, performance, handling, braking, looks. It seems to have it all. Okay, so those are the 5 things I really like about this car. What are the 5 things I really don't like? For a starter, these are low level. These are not bad things. So in the scheme of things, I'm being picky, but hey, it's an 80 grand car. Number 1 is that heads-up display, the piece of plastic that comes out of the dash. Feels really low rent. I wish all manufacturers would just stop using them. It's a dashboard, if you like, if you don't have one. It's a sort of heads-up display, but it just looks very out of place. Second thing that's a bit out of place in this car is that hesitation on full acceleration. It's probably hard to see in a video, but it feels like a really long time. You just sit there and nothing happens. It's not a long time at all, but it's John Cooper works. It's 221 kilowatts of power. It goes very well, but that hesitation is just a bit surprising. Third thing that I showed you before are those little tiny seat heat buttons. I keep trying with the voice control to adjust the seat temperature heating. I try with voice control to adjust the steering wheel heating between the 3 levels. Just can't do it, so you have to use that tiny little button, and it just, again, really low level. I'm being picky, but I'm trying to find 5 things here. Bear with me. My fourth dislike would be these sun visors. I just wish they'd fix it and make it a sliding sun visor. Again, being picky, but when you're driving along in that commuting traffic and the sun's low and it's just beaming on the side of my head, holy cow, I don't like that at all. Fix it. Sliding sun visors, sorted forever. And I don't really have a 5th dislike. I guess if there was one thing that I don't want to do or don't like, is that I don't want to give this car back. It's been great. I've really enjoyed my time with it. There are other cars out there that try to be the perfect all-rounder and try and do everything, and quite a few of them fail. They just try to be too much. This JCW Countryman ALL4, it seems to do it all. If I said it twice already, and I hate to say it again, if you had to have one car, if it was me and I needed one car to do it all, this would be on top of my list. Ka kite anō. I'll see you next time. Fred from Drive Life.